balancing frequencies too. So we're going to continue working on our mix here, and we're going to focus on the drums for a little bit. As you've noticed, we have put some EQ on the kick and of course the bass, but we haven't put any EQ on any other aspects of the drums. And so we're going to go and start with the snare drum. Put our EQ on there. And if we want to, this is not a bad time to just kind of solo the drum kit and just listen to the drum kit for a little bit. So kind of find two frequencies I like in the snare, and right now I'm kind of focusing on making it sound better with the EQ. So that's kind of my first focus on the snare. And then I'm going to take, and I'm just going to copy these settings over to the bottom snare and tweak them a little bit. And then remember, we have our little crazy Tom room mic sort of thing. So I'm going to take and put a plug in there. Okay, and this one I can go a little crazy on too. And of course, we've got to watch our gain stages, make sure that if we're adding too much gain in our EQ, that we pull down our input on the EQ plugin. On my snare top over here went a little red, and as you can see, there it is there. So just like we had the issues before of distortion occurring in between the output of a track and the master bus, or the beginning of a track and the output of the track, we have all these spots where distortion can come in. So within a plugin, if we add too much gain in there, we can distort it. And maybe we add some gain in there and then we turn down the output, and so our track isn't going to go red, but there is actual distortion in there. So on the EQ plugins, I'm always jumping for this input gain to pull it down to adjust for the gain I'm adding in the EQ plugin. Okay, then I'm going to play with my overheads here. And you notice that we did our compression first, and now we're doing our EQ. There really isn't any set rule that compression has to be before EQ. It can be either way. I personally prefer most of the time to put compression first, but you can definitely switch it around, and there's probably going to be some times where I want to swap their location. And it does make a sound if you EQ first and then compress, or compress first and then EQ. And so there is a difference there, and I just wanted to make sure that you didn't think that you have to follow this example, but there is a reason why I'm doing it that way. So let's go ahead and do our overheads. Okay, there we go. There's some cymbals. We really want to hear some cymbals for that. overhead track. A lot of times with your overhead and your kick, you want to listen to those two together to make sure that your overhead isn't really hurting your kick drum. Okay, so we want to kind of have most of our kick sound coming from that close mic.
This too shall pass. This time in your life won't last. I found a real friend. He'll be there.
So that kind of does it for our drums for right now. We haven't got to the hi-hat yet, but we got to kind of move on to our next video, and so we'll continue with balancing frequencies in just a second.